When you see the R of a circle, that is the radius. And then HK is called the center of the circle. It's confusing because that HK is the same as XY because it's a point, okay? Because it's the point that's the center of the circle, we call it HK, but it is an XY value just like all the other points are, okay? This is the radius in this picture. This is the radius of the circle, right? This is the distance here is the radius. Sorry, it shouldn't be the circle because that would be the perimeter. But the radius is that same distance in every direction. And so the radius makes the circle. This is the radius just going all the way around 360 degrees around from the center of the circle. Good. Here's the center, HK. That's a fixed point. This is the radius, the fixed distance. The standard form of an equation of a circle with a radius r and the center HK is x minus h squared plus the quantity y minus k squared equals r squared, okay? From a point, if I said here that here HK looks like, maybe it's the 0.21, doesn't matter. And then my R is maybe 2, okay? Whatever that point was, this point is exactly 2 units away from this point. This point is actually exactly 2 units away from this point. It's like when you're mapping something, right? And you have the center, and then you're like, what is 1 mile away from that? What is 2 miles away from that? Okay. It's just the same distance in any direction. If you go the radius from the center, you're touching the perimeter of the circle. All the R's of every direction close enough to touch make the circle itself. Good. So the standard form is just plugging in the center points and giving the radius, okay? But then if you simplify or expand that and then simplify it, I guess, you get the general form. You get a very long polynomial, and then you put it in order, and that's called the general form of the circle, okay? So here is the circle. H is my x value of the circle. Or sorry, x value of the center. H is the x value of the center. K is the y value of the center. Of that center point. Good. And then R is a fixed distance from that center point. So if I was to describe the standard form, I would say we take the x value of the center, we change the sign, right? Because it's a minus. We change the sign, we group it with x, just the letter x. We take that quantity, we square it. Then you take the y value, which is k. We take the y value of that central point, group it with y, that quantity squared, or sorry, change the sign, group it with y, that quantity squared, add those together, and you will get r squared, the square of the radius. Then you expand this, use algebra to group quantities into like terms by exponents, put them in alphabetical order, you get the general form after you set it equal to 0, okay? Example 1, write the standard form of the equation of the circle with radius 6 and the center 0, 0, okay? So just a lot of practice with this today. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Write it over here again. It is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. When h is the x value of your center, k is the y value of your center, and then r is my radius. So I know that r is 6. I know that h is 0, right? I know that k is also 0. And then I just fill that in. So I can keep some of it. I can keep x minus the quantity squared plus y minus that squared equals r squared. Okay, and then I'm going to fill in for k. My k was 0, so y minus 0 squared. My h is 0, so it's h minus x minus 0 squared, and then our radius was 6, so this is 6 squared, right? Substitute each value into the standard form of the equation. So we took the x value of the center and we changed the sign. We made it a -0. We took the y value of the center, we changed the sign, we made it a -0. Good. And then we grouped those with the letter that they are, right? That's the x value, so it's grouped with x. That's the y value, so it's grouped with y. We set it equal to the radius squared. The radius is 6 squared. So all I'm going to do now is simplify it very succinctly. X minus 0 squared is still x squared. Y minus 0 squared is just y squared equals 6 squared is 36. Good. How do you graph that? Start at the center and use the radius. So count 6 up. It's 6, oops, sorry, it's 6 in every direction. Good. And now you connect those with, I'm so bad at drawing circles that I get this out. Oh, then you can just tell how bad I am at spacing things. And then you connect them because every direction 6 units will be that circle. Good. You can also throw this into Desmos. X squared plus y squared equals 36 will look like that in Desmos. Example 2, write the standard form of the equation of the circle with a radius 6 and center 0. Sorry, we're on page 3. Identify the center and radius of the circle with a radius 4 and the center -2, 5, and then graph the circle and then convert to general form. Good. All right, so we'll start with standard form. Remember, standard form is quantity x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. What do we know? We know that r is 4. H is our x, so h is -2, k is 5. I wanted to call h just x because it's so much easier, but it's h. So I have x minus, remember we always change the sign, squared, plus y minus squared equals radius squared. So again, I'm just rewriting that, but now I'm going to input everything. My radius is a 4. My h is a -2, and my k is a +5. Good. If I wrote that again, I could get rid of the minus and negative and say x plus 2 squared and y minus 5 squared equals 16. Good. That is the standard form of the equation. We can graph the circle now by thinking about what is the center? -2, 5. And in Desmos, they will ask you to find the center of this, or sorry, not in Desmos. In MyMathLab, they'll ask you to find the center of the circle and then give the radius. So you found that point, and then your radius is going to be 16. Or sorry, it's going to be 4, not 16. The square root of 16, which is 4. Good. So for example -2, 5. If I need to go 4 in this direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to be touching the line +2, 5. So it's easy to go exactly left, exactly right, exactly down, and exactly up and find that radius. But in my math lab, they'll just ask you and you'll put it in and they will make this perfect circle for you. Good. Graph the circle, convert to general form. This is just a bunch of algebra practice. So we decided it was x plus 2 squared and y minus 5 squared together. And we're going to set that equal to 0. So we're eventually going to move that 16 over as well. This whole quantity is squared. That means we're going to write it twice. X plus 2 times x plus 2. And then we're going to FOIL it. Y minus 5 times y minus 5. FOIL it. Good. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is 4. Good. And then we're combining it with y times y is y squared. Y times -5 is -5y again. And then -5 times a -5 is a +25 equals 16. So now you can move that 16 over because general form will end with 0. So I'll subtract 16, subtract 16. Now it is set equal to 0 and I need to simplify. 25 minus 16 plus 4. So here's 4, 25 minus 16. So that's 29 minus 16. $13. These two become going backwards, -10y, right? Then y squared is still alone. It's a positive y squared. That 4 was back here with the 13. I have 4x here and I have x squared here. I've combined the like terms. However, I need to now put it in order. So it was x squared plus y squared plus x plus y plus constant equals 0. So now just change it around. X squared plus y squared. You just want to be careful of your signs. Plus 4x minus 10y plus 13 is 0 is your standard form. If you put this whole thing into Desmos with the equal to 0, that's important, and you put this into Desmos, you're going to get the same circle. Example 3 says, identify the center and radius of the circle x plus 1 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 9. Okay. In standard form, it is x minus h squared, y minus k squared. Right? That's important because when you see those and you're like, oh, this goes with the x, so that's the x. This goes with the y, that is the y. You need, it's easy to make a mistake if you don't remember. Hold on. It's easy to make a mistake if you don't remember that those are the negative version of the h and the k. So my center is the point h comma k, and my radius is the distance r. Okay, we've written x plus 1, but we need to remember that that does not mean h is 1. right? It means that h is the negative value of that. Good. Look at what is grouped with the x, change its sign, and that will be the x value of the center point. Look what is grouped with y, change the sign, and that will be your k. So my h is a -1, my k is a +1 because I had to flip the sign. My r is the square root of whatever that number is. The square root of 9 is 3. Good. This circle, the circle quantity x plus 1 squared plus quantity y minus 1 squared equals 9, has a center at -1, +1. Has a radius of 3. So if I know its center is at -1, +1, and that it has a radius of 3, it's going to look like this. Now, example 4 is asking us to identify the center and the radius of the circle x squared plus the quantity y plus 4 squared equals 25, and then graph it. Good? All right, so the center is going to be h comma k. The radius is going to be r, right? From the formula, x minus h squared plus y minus k, not just 4, squared equals r squared. So r is going to be the square root of 25, right? Because that's r squared. So the square root of 25 is 5. I can see that there is a number grouped with y. So y minus k is the same as y plus 4. So minus what would give me a +4? K is -4. I know r is 5. I know k is -4. But what is h? There is no number grouped with x. So that means x minus h is the same as x plus or minus 0, right? Y minus k is the same as y plus 4. X minus h is the same as x plus or minus 0, right? So that means my h is 0. My radius r is 5. My center hk is 0, -4. So from that 0, -4, go out a radius 5. So you should touch that +1. Oh gosh, this needs to be way bigger. Make a circle with a radius 5. That wasn't bad for me. Any questions? All right, you might encounter circles where it's not, the radius squared is not a perfect square. So far we have seen 4, no, we saw 5, and we saw 4. Yeah, those are nice ones, right? And we saw 6. This when we square it, we get the whole number 24, but 24 isn't a perfect square, right? So it's still asking us to identify the center and the radius, and then find the intercepts and graph the circle right in general form. So my center, HK, radius R.
Yeah. Oh, that's my acceptance stuff.
When we have the equation x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, right? So here, x minus 5 squared is the same as x minus h squared. So h is a positive 5, right? Y minus k is just y squared. So that means my k is 0. R squared is positive 24. So that means my R is the square root of 24. Good. So they might ask you to just leave it like that. You can also just practice radicals. The radical 24 can be simplified into what perfect square can be multiplied. Can 24 be divided by? We have the square 4, 9, 16, right? 24, I can divide it by square root of 4 times 6, right? So 4, the square root of 4 is 2. So I can also call that 2 square root of 6 as my radius. Square root of 24. And my center is 5, 0. Good. So go out 5. And then go up square root of 24. And then if you put that in your calculator, you can see that it's almost a 5, right? Because the square root of 25 is 5. So you're going almost to 5 and draw a circle. That was a bad one. They gave it to us in standard form. X minus 5 squared plus y squared equals 24. And we need to put it in general form. So one translation from standard form to general form, just like we did before. So x minus 5 squared becomes x minus 5 times x minus 5. Everything else can stay the same. X times x is x squared minus 5x minus 5x. Negative 5 times negative 5 is a positive 25 plus y squared equals 24. These two can be combined into negative 10x. I've combined like terms. Now I can move that positive 24 over. And I get x squared plus y squared minus 10x plus 1 equals 0.